up against the world's problems, I am pretty much 99.99% powerless. But there is a 0.001% change that is in my hands. My name is Molly Geisler, and I was an Indy Corps staff member, which entailed serving as a personal and professional mentor and leadership coach for our fellows who were serving at projects that were all over India. It was in November of 2012, the Indy Corps staff team and I were logging extra long hours at the office because we were planning for an upcoming workshop. And during workshops, fellows come from all over the country, and we gather to basically equip them to be more effective change makers in the field, giving them toolkits to use, helping them to understand development work, and promoting personal transformation for them as leaders. And typically, I would make my way from the new city where the office was to my home in the old city, ideally around dusk. But cramming for this workshop, I ended leaving a little bit later, around 10 p.m. So I was crossing the bridge to the old city, and a little ways afterwards, I saw a group of men walking. And in the middle of the group of men was a woman. And out of the corner of my eye, I see one of the men strike this woman. So, of course, I stop to see what was happening, and another one strikes her, and she actually falls, and they begin to drag her. So at that point, my mind flashed to the memory of a policeman that I had seen on the bridge. So I ran to the policeman and basically begged him for help. And I thought that was the smartest thing for me to do at the time, but it was clear that he was not going to help, and I was realizing that this was a waste. So I ran back to the scene, and the woman she was no longer there. Instead, there was kind of a flustered crowd of onlookers, and I confronted them and asked, "Where's this woman?" And some of them pointed towards a shed that was about 60 meters away, while other ones gave me very mixed messages, words in Gujarati that I didn't understand. It was very unclear what the best thing for me to do was. Part of me wanted to just go charging at that shed and be a potentially self-sacrificing one-time hero. However, because I understood that there are lots of consequences for your actions, that after I was gone, anything could have happened to this woman and her family if these men were kind of instigated a little bit. So understanding that there was a lot about this community that I didn't understand, that made me hesitate to just go barging in somewhere. I realized there was nothing else for me to do in this moment. And I went home, and I cried and cried and cried for this woman. I cried for all women. I cried because I hated that policeman. I was so angry at those men. And I felt like at that point I had seen a little bit too much darkness in the world to really handle it all. So I cried till I had nothing left and realized I had to get up to go to the workshop, which was the last thing that I wanted to do at that point. But, I had a choice I could make. I could stay there kind of wallowing in my sorrow, or I could wash my face, I could get up, and I could go to that workshop with this incredibly profound depth of motivation for being a more effective leader for these fellows and impacting them because they are active change makers in the field at that time. And that's exactly what I did. I did that because although I feel as though up against the world's problems, I am pretty much 99.99% powerless. But there is a 0.001% change that is in my hands if I want it to be, if I act. And if a lot more people act, then we will be a lot less powerless up against the world's problems. I still feel very sorry for this woman and sorry that there was not more that I could have done for her in that time. But I understand that there's a type of change that you can make when you respond in real time to issues that are arising spontaneously around us. And there's also a type of change that we can make when we understand the issues around us and at the same time understand ourselves, understand our strengths, understand our passions, and we can channel those passions and those strengths for a specific purpose. And over the course of our lives, we can chip away at these problems that we understand. I gather inspiration from a lot of places, and this woman is one of them.